a lot. Now this is the test, right? If Pure Steel Paladin can get by this deck, then this Pure Steel Paladin deck is for real.
It should be a hard match.
It might still be for real.
We saw Dannewitz play against Merfolk with no counter spells, no creature interaction, and he just died on the second turn. In this matchup here, because Fatal Push and Tarfire, legitimate interaction, the discard spells are very good. You know, a lot of Dannewitz's hands that don't have a turn to payoff backed up by a lot of zero-mana artifacts are dead ends. And Majors has a lot of ways to turn the live hands into dead ends as well.
Majors bobbles himself, checks out the top card of his deck, plays a Verdant Catacombs, and simply passes the turn back over to Dannewitz.
And a lot of this is going to be a question of, does Majors know what he's playing against? Because if, say, he taps on turn 2 for a Tarmogoyf, thinking, you know, well, I'm playing against Jeskai or whatever, he can just get killed in that spot. If he knows what's going on, then he can sit on the Fatal Push, and it's very hard for Dannewitz to do much of anything as long as Majors has a removal spell up.
Majors searches for a Overgrown Tomb, and now he'll draw. Tarmogoyf is the draw.
We'll find now. Time to find out.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Are you from the future? Jeez. Yeah, not happening.
Majors. Yeah. so sharp.
Yeah, that's not happening. Dannewitz going to sack a fetch land, search up a land here. It's a Hallowed Fountain. Leads me to believe that Michael does know what he's playing against here.
I think the jig is up. But now this to me is the interesting test. How does Dannewitz do against the appropriate interaction against a skilled opponent? We saw him just get to run over Merfolk yesterday, but I want to see how he plays against bolts and fatal pushes and discard spells.
Calling the draw steps for this match, always a little rough. Picked up another useless equipment. Here's a Strum. Oh, we got a reader. All right, Michael's read it enough. Whenever you cast, doesn't have to enter play for Strum. Whenever you cast an aura or equipment, oh yes, a 0 mana, that's dead.
Okay, that's dead.
Okay, that's not alive anymore. You still get to draw a card. That's nice.
And if he can find a replacement 2-drop, either Pure Steel Paladin or another copy of SRAM, then it's okay. Then it forces another removal spell. But if he doesn't have that, then his deck is mostly a Quarter Shields, Bone Stars, Cathar Shields, Kite Shields, Paradise Mantles, Inspired Silk Nets, and it's hard to beat opponents with lands and spells with those kind of cards.
It is tough. It does make it a little more difficult, yes, when your cards have no text. But this is the risk you take.
Yeah. The backup plan of cast a Simian Spirit Guide and put the equipment on it, unlikely to beat many opponents. Good against Zoo. You can beat Zoo that way.
You might be able to. It's a Traverse the Uvenwald here from Michael. He has an instant artifact and a land in the graveyard, so he's not quite there yet. So just a basic swamp. Looks like that'll be his land for the turn. And now he'll draw from the bobble. Picked up an Inquisition of Kozilek. That's a tough one to beat. Actually, when your hand is all stinky equipment,
right?
Then you've set them up.
Yep. Dannewitz is oddly insulated against Inquisition of Kozilek right now by having nothing but unplayable cards in his hand.
Boom. All right, here's the trash heap.
Yep.
The Mox Opal is going to the graveyard. I'll tell you that right now. The rest of the stuff here, let's see what kind of eyes I got here. I got 2 Bone Saws.
A lot of credit for Majors for not bursting into laughter upon seeing this.
It's impressive.
That's hard.
It's impressive. I got 2 Bone Saws, a Cathar Shield.
You got a little raise of the eyebrow.
Yeah. I got a Quarter Shield. I got at least 1 Kite Shield, and yes, the Mox Opal to the bin. Michael will sacrifice a Wooded Foothills.
You see Major still sitting on another copy of Fatal Push here, so Dannewitz needs back-to-back Pure Steel Paladin / SRAMs for this hand to do much of anything.
Hey, runner, nothing's funner. Major's got a Tarmogoyf. It's pretty big.
Funner?
It rhymes, Patrick.
But
it rhymes.
You have a lot of ways to make things rhyme when you just don't use words.
Have you never heard that before?
I've never heard that.
Wow. I am shocked. I am truly shocked. You even sit at poker tables sometimes.
I do.
Yeah, runner, runner, nothing's funner. This is a thing that people say. I mean, it's stupid, but it's a thing people say. Sacred Foundry, tapped. Majors will sacrifice a fetch land. Get a Blood Crypt. David Dannewitz gonna need a lot.
Gonna need a lot. Back to back. A Noxus Revival also can kind of be part of the back to back.
Sort of. Tarfire to draw. That's game.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah. Majors has another Tarmogoyf too.
I wouldn't even cast the Tarfire though, because it's just another way to break up the combo.
Yeah, there's no reason to cast it.
I think 2 removal spells from this spot is a lock.
Yeah. A Tarmogoyf thinking hard about attacking. Just let it go, Michael.
Well, I think he's thinking about, does he want a Tarfire to speed the clock up? Because he might feel if he can cut this game into 2 turns with a Fatal Push left over, that could be the checkmark too.
Well, I think this turn, right? Doesn't he just go attack with Tarmogoyf, take 5, play the other Tarmogoyf, leave up push plus Tarfire, and you cannot win?
Yeah, no, but he's doing the math to see if he can just shrink a turn out. It doesn't matter either way.
Sure.
As long as he's sitting on these removal spells. A removal spell invalidates a draw step, and there's only so many draw steps to go, so whatever. But
ooh, Arid Mesa the draw. We're going to be going to game 2 here in just a moment. Yeah, upstairs. Grow the Goyf. You fall to 11. It'll be an attack for 12. Michael Majors wins game number 1 over David Dannewitz. Death Shadow up a game here over Pure Steel Paladin. Pure Steel Paladin did not pass the test that time.
didn't look great against a removal spell.
No.
And a clock.
Not. Yes,
didn't look great there.
Did not look particularly good there. However, David Dannewitz is going to go to the sideboard, and this is where I think this might heat up a little bit. 4 Silence, 3 Monastery Mentor, 3 Leyline of Sanctity, 2 Pact Negation, 2 Echoing Truth, and a Hurkyl's Recall. Can we go to the Mentors?
Well, I would not go to the Mentor in this matchup, I don't think. What I would want to do, I think I want to bring in Leyline of Sanctity for various discard spells. I would want to go to Silence in this matchup. If all of Majors' interaction that matters are the Tarfires and the Fatal Pushes, Silence and go is, I think, a viable game plan. He may want to go to the Mentor just to diversify, but I think the combination of Leyline and Silence requires so many sideboard slots to begin with that I would just want to do that and not worry about the Mentor, especially with Majors having Tarfires and Fatal Pushes in his deck. I don't think Mentor is a reliable way to win the game.
Let's go to Michael Majors' sideboard. 3 Fulminator Mage, 3 Surgical Extraction, 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Collective Brutality, a Liliana the Last Hope, a Cozy's Return, a Maelstrom Pulse, a Big Game Hunter, and an Abrupt Decay.
So I like the 3 copies of Surgical Extraction because if Majors can tag one of the combo enablers, that just might be lights out. I would not go to Maelstrom Pulse here. As we saw Dannewitz play on camera yesterday, if he goes to his main phase and has the combo, it's over. It's not going to be like Majors gets another turn. So I think the sorcery speed removal is off the table here. I think the Abrupt Decay is good, and I would bring in the Surgical Extractions as well.
Well, there are your options there for both players. David Dannewitz will be on the play, try to put up a bit more of a fight than he did in the last game. While he does get ready for that, we've talked about Death Shadow, we've talked about Pure Steel Paladin quite a bit as we watch Majors and Dannewitz do battle. This is a deck that you can play 2 weekends from now in Dallas, an event that we expect to sell out. So here's some more information about our next stop on the SCG Tour. David Dannewitz, Michael Majors, Pure Steel Paladin, Death Shadow. Not great for Pure Steel Paladin game 1. Not great.
I think Silence is quite a viable option, though.
It's bold. It's bold.
I mean, if he had a Silence in game number 1, I think it's trivial for him to win.
Yeah, pretty easy.
Just cut you off of removal spells for a turn, kill you.
Yeah.
And I think that combined with Leyline to cut off the discard is a path.
Let's learn about Applebee's favorite son.
Yeah.
Michael Majors, 25 years old, Evans, Georgia. 6 open top 8s, looking for number 7 here this week, and I think he's on pace. Pretty good matchup for Michael right now with 1 open win many moons ago. on the back end of an invitational. Also has an invitational top 8 last year. He aspires to own his own Applebee's franchise. That's not a joke. That's the truth. He's an avid reader. He loves some speed runs. Likes kayaking as well. Likes to play some Magic too. He's pretty gosh darn good at it, I'll tell you that much. And he likes this Death Shadow deck. I know Jerry Thompson, good friend of his, didn't have a great weekend with the deck. Major's playing a very similar list. Might be the exact same 75. Major's having a great weekend so far.
I often get texts from Majors after, Saturday of covering an event or Sunday of covering an event that is just Club B's ?
Correct.
Which is code for, do you want to go to the local Applebee's?
That's correct.
I usually decline his offer.
Smart. Great riblets, though.
Would not know.
That's not true. The riblets are horrible.
This is
very bad.
Usually it is me killing potential sponsorship deals. It is rare. It is rare.
I don't want anything to do with the bees.
Branding and marketing guru Cedric Phillips would shut down an opportunity to get a sponsor.
That's correct. I'm very passionate about branding and marketing.
Yep.
I like to disassociate myself from the club.
Sure.
That's all.
Majors, though, very passionate.
Yes. But you know what? If Club B's came a calling, I'd take the call.
Of course you would.
We can have a conversation.
Yeah. They would probably make you read some riblets on the air.
I would prefer not to do that. I'd prefer not to do that.
All right, Mr. Phillips, everything looks good here. There's just one sticking point.
Please
we
no.
have
no.
evidence of you
Please no.
speaking ill of the riblets.
I'm begging you not to make me eat those.
And you need to make that right. Make that right.
A street wraith here from Michael is going to bring him down to 18. That is a Verdant Catacombs. Dannewitz will sacrifice his fetch line. But Dannewitz started with a very powerful enchantment on the battlefield, and that is the Ley Line of Sanctity. He has hexproof. Discard spells, they're a no-go. And Major's first draw step was a Thoughtseize. So Dannewitz has some protection here. But
now if he's got a silence and the combo, that we might be going to game 2 very quickly.
The issue I have a little bit with silence is if he's bringing in Ley Line and silence, he's really diluting his deck.
Definitely. You had to make some cuts, and that's why I don't think he could bring in the mentors as well, because you just need to have enough zeros to make sure that when you're off and running, you win the game.
Picked up a copy of Retract. Now Dannewitz will sacrifice a fetch land. We'll see what he's going to search up now. You have light totals in front. You sacrifice at least one fetch land. Basic planes here for Dannewitz. Go time. Please have nothing. Please have nothing. Going to take a look at the Pure Steel Paladin. We'll take a look at Pure Steel as well. Because Ceram and Pure Steel are a little bit different, whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. Whammy. Ceram is when you cast. Pure Steel is when it enters. So you draw nothing.
I think I would have preferred a little bit more patience here from Dannewitz than just trying to snap him off right now. Because with Ley Line in play, you have a lot of time to assemble a hand. And if Dannewitz has the silences in his deck, then I would just prefer to wait.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't have them.
Yeah, and if it was SRAM and you were at least drawing a card for your troubles in the event that things went the wrong way, that would also be one thing. But trying to do it via Pure Steel Paladin, I think I'd rather hang back.
It's also entirely possible that this deck is just always supposed to go for it. Oh, boy.
Oh, no. That's a humdinger of a draw step.
Surgical Extraction, a real tough guy. Just pass the turn back. This could be a tough game now. Draw step. Surgical your Paladins. Okay. Well, sorry about that. I drew a piece of garbage equipment.
All right. Well, now Dannewitz is drawing to 4 cards in his deck,
making it a little more difficult.
Curious to see if the silences are in there. Again, if he had silence, I would have waited a little bit. Maybe Majors taps out for a threat card.
No.
Or maybe you put together silence plus.
Majors, you see how he's pulled forward a Grape Shot. He wants to know how many ways can you kill me? What have you sideboarded in? What are your relevant cards? Major's not pulling forward any of the equipment, however. Leaving the Paradise Mantles and Friends back.
It looks like he has not brought in the silences.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He has Pact in, but not Silence.
He has a main deck copy of Pact Negation. Does David Dannewitz.
I believe more in the sideboard also.
Nope, 2 on the board, 2 on the board, you're right. So he could board up to 3. So now Majors knows what he needs to play against a little bit here.
But Pact Negation is another argument for just wait a little bit. Because he has a draw step where Majors can't cover everything.
Majors will take his turn. He's drawn a copy of Street Wraith. Down to 11 goes Michael. Draw. Fatal Push. Michael's hand stinks.
I don't know. I think it's very hard for Dannewitz to beat this.
Well, Michael can't cast anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if he's only on Stomping Ground, then I suppose. Yeah.
He can't play anything.
I just assumed that he had access to whatever. No, he's fine.
So if Dannewitz draws
He's just good.
a Shram, I mean, he's on a 4-outer, but if he draws one, life is pretty good. He better draw one real soon. Ding!
Ding, 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 ding.
Magic is easy. Let's go. Boom, draw a card. Boom, draw a card. Well, we don't have a land or a Mox Opal yet to be able to retract. Need to draw a little ding. And Paradise Mantle. Draw a card. Now we got a reader. Mox Opal, that's it.
That's the lock.
That is it.
That's the lock. We're done.
See ya. See ya. Another Cathar Shield. Kite Shield. Steam Vents. There's a Mox. Hasn't played a land yet. I'll cast a Retract. Take that. Rewind it back. Let's go again. Bing. Yeah, we're going to G3.
We've seen this before.
Yeah,
he's strong his whole deck and grape shotting him out. The deck plays with too many zeros to brick once you...
It's pretty tough.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's pretty tough to brick. Majors at 11. Yeah, I forgot. Also, Majors just deals himself a lot of damage, so his storm count doesn't even have to get that high. But you know what? I like this. Keep going, because you might not get to do this game 3.
Yeah.
So get it all out now.
Yeah. The question is, can you go off deep enough where you have enough mana left over to equip the Bone Saw onto SRAM before grape shotting him out?
That's important.
3-2 and storm count of 40.
See ya, David Dannewitz. Michael Majors, Pure Steel Paladin, Death Shadow, going to game 3. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want.
That is what I want.
You just need to draw a SRAM. Okay, fine, I will. You lose. I've been informed via Twitter that people would put over the Riblets a little more than I would.
Okay.
Via Applebee's. I'm a hard no on the Riblets.
Yeah, until Applebee's comes calling.
and then
And then
I change my tune.
you're going to have to eat a whole plate of Riblets off of a plate of Ultimate Guard sleeves. And then the SCG Tour will have 2 sponsors.
And then I'll be buff like the Ultimate Guard guy after all those Riblets.
Right.
That's totally fine. You've
change the Ultimate Guard logo so it's the same guy, but he's covered in barbecue sauce. Whatever, I'll leave the details to you.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're a lot better with this stuff than I am.
I'll figure it out. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Do you still want Silence after we watch that game?
I think if he wants to be on Pact Negation, it's fine. I prefer Silence because Majors can very easily get into a spot where he can cast 2 removal spells in the same turn. That's a spot that Silence covers that Pact of Negation does not. But I want a little bit of that, one way or the other.
All right, well, they're going to shuffle her up, get ready here for game number 3. Don't see a lot of changes taking place here for Dannewitz. For Majors, there might be some slight cosmetic changes, but it'll be on the play. Let's talk SCG Game Night, the very popular promotion. Thanks to all our organizers for running it, and all of our players for playing in it this month. Not a lot of time left to get a little Corgi Firewalker, but March and April coming up soon.
Yeah, and we have those kits ready to show you. In March, we have Pig Through Time, and then April, Fleecekeeper. Again, go to StarCityGames.com/game night to find the game night closest to you. Stores, if you want to get signed up for game night, contact your Star City Games in-store play representative.
Game number 3 between David Dannewitz and Michael Majors. You mentioned actually at the top of the show today, going to be some short turnaround times. I think you're right. First of all, Modern doesn't take very long. We've only got 79 players here in day number 2, so the action is going to be coming quick.
Also, when the cut is 7-2 instead of 6-2-1, you know what that means?
What's that?
We, by our nature, cut out a lot of people who receive draws.
It's true. That's true. So that's just gone.
That's just gone.
That's just gone.
Did you get a draw in Modern somehow? Chad.
Yeah. Obs on guy.
Obs on guy. You can't play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Unless you win 7-1-1.
It's pretty tough to do.
Yeah.
You got to draw in Modern. You got to really want to draw in Modern.
Right.
Because that's tough. Majors, no black man in that game. Also couldn't Thoughtseize the opponent. Couldn't cast those Fatal Pushes. If he could have, likely would have won.
Mm-hmm.
But he could not.
And even if your matchup is good, and I think, you know, in the aggregate, Majors has well above 50% matchup here, the decks that can kill you that fast and in a way that's that hard to interact with, every game is a sweat.
Yes.
Even if you're a favorite.
Yes.
I watched it, you know, in Legacy, Death and Taxes versus Sneak and Show. Yes, Death and Taxes is favored, maybe even a heavy favorite, but you can't do anything about their best draws. Their best draws are better than anything you can defend yourself against.
Yeah, sometimes you just lose.
Yeah, you just lose sometimes.
It's not 100-0.
Yeah.
Once again, players in Modern.
Both players taking a look at the openers. Michael Majors will be on the play.
Your event is ready to begin.
See if he likes what he sees. Long look here from Major. It's got a bobble. The one thing about this Death Shadow deck, as we've mentioned, because we've watched it a couple times here, the opening hands are not as clear as they seem.
Yes.
Because you have Street Wraith, because you have Mishra's Bobble.
And it's magnified in this kind of matchup too, because you have some very particular cards you're looking for.
No pregame actions here from David Dannewitz, no lane line. Majors gonna play a bobble. Who's he gonna target?
And also, honestly, in the game, in a matchup that is this fast, being a turn delayed on a card in your opening hand is also a huge cost.
Mm-hmm. Majors gonna take a look at Dannewitz's top card first with Mishra's Bobble. So Majors' opening hand has 3 bobbles. Okay.
And this is what I mean about the turn delay. If one of these 3 bobbles yields, let's say, a Thoughtseize or an Inquisition, it is a huge deal that these were bobbles and not the actual card in question.
Yep.
Because he might have to cast the discard spell on turn 1.
Yep. Now Majors wants to know where to go with the other bobble. If he even wants to break it right now.
Well, I would imagine he looks at his top card.
Yes, I don't think he needs to take a refresher.
Right.
With David Dannewitz's. Yeah, he'll take a look at his.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Let me look again.
I'll spin the top again. All right, 2 draw steps because of 2 bobbles. 1, 2. Kolaghan's Command among those cards. Flooded Strand the draw here for David Dannewitz.
And I see a white card in his hand, and I believe the only white cards in his deck are the combo creatures in question.
Dannewitz's hand is very strange, though. He's got 2 Mox Opals, I believe. He's got a Pact Negation, and he does have one of his creatures to be able to go with.
I mean, I think that if he has, let's say he draws another 0 that triggers, that's probably good enough to go.
It's risky business.
The deck is so saturated with 0s. We've never, I mean, he's usually gone off with 3 or 4 in hand, but I can't imagine waiting without the ley line. You have no cover against a discard spell.
Yeah.
So you just gotta, I think you just gotta hope it's good.
Fatal Push the draw. It's getting hard now.
And this is why, you know, I was advocating for the silences instead of Pact Negation. This is the spot that I'm worried about. Majors has Tarfire and Fatal Push, mana, and cards, and now your Pact Negation's no good. Whereas Silence would be, you know, you shut down his turn and then you go.
And you just go off, sure.
Yep.
All right. Dannewitz going to untap. Ah, yes. Cathar Shield. Put that, slide that one in the back.
With enough 0 mana artifacts and a Pact of Negation, if I'm Dannewitz, I would be hard-pressed to not go for it here. Again, it would be different if he had a ley line, but because his draw can also be broken up by a discard spell at this point, if I was in a spot, I would go for it right now and lose based on the card in hand.
I could never go for it right now.
Why are you even showing up to a tournament with this deck if you're not?
No, because he only has 2 equipment. He doesn't even have a retract. That's just 2 draw steps. That's it. Like, that's not anything.
I don't know. That's not.
And it's not even a Saram. So if I play a thing and he kills it in response, I don't even get to draw a card.
Oh, well, if he kills
if
he kills it in response, we already lose. My line is predicated on I think my passive negation's good.
You assume he has nothing?
No, you can beat one spell. He has a passive negation. You can beat one thing.
But I don't even know if you can beat one thing because.
And I guess you can't beat Abrupt Decay also.
But you're also only getting 2 more draw steps. Like, I'm fine with him playing this here, and then, like, if it dies, totally fine. But I wouldn't, if my opponent has a removal spell here, I wouldn't pact back because there's no guarantee I'm even winning this turn anyway. I think it's very unlikely. You know how good he has to run to win this turn?
So now your draw steps from here, if you don't do anything, your draw steps from here have to be basically another thing and a bunch of zeros, and nothing bad happens to you for several turns. That seems way less likely to me than he's on one removal spell, you snap off some zeros, and you're good. I would say these are both low odd plays.
Yes, I agree with that.
He let it go?
Well, yeah, it was Abrupt Decay, you can't counter it.
Oh, okay, he got the game, sure. The presence of Abrupt Decay in Major's deck is another argument for silence instead of passive negation.
Totally true. Totally true. I mean, passive negation is just going to be nonsense this game. I just think that David's hand is so... Well, first of all, we could even rewind it all the way back to discussing a mulligan. Now, I don't know how well this deck mulligans. It probably mulligans really badly because, Kite Shield.
If he had a 2 and some mana and some zeros, then I think you're just keeping that hand. I can't imagine mulliganing that sort of hand. You're obviously not a lot to win, but you can't do that much better on 6.
Yeah. Major's very patient. Could have played a Death Shadow. Chose not. No, it would have died. Shouldn't play Death Shadow. He's at 13.
Hold tight.
I would wait. I would wait. Tarfire yourself. Come on, come on. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Down to 11.
Speed this clock up.
Oh, yeah. Picked up a stomping ground.
Untapped.
Oh, yeah. And this is going to be very reminiscent of game number 1. I mean, this is probably over now.
Yep. I think, yeah, we're
threat plus 1 mana removal spell up. I guess he needs to have 2 because of the pact, but also his hand's just not very good. There's Tarmogoyf.
Well, I believe Major selected the pact.
Oh, you select the pact? Yeah. Yep, he did. It's in the graveyard. You're right.
Yeah, so his draw steps basically have to be one of the creatures and a pact, and then hope.
Yes. Sacred Foundry's not it. That's not it. I'm looking to go manual mode here.
Just start casting things?
Creature, Equipses.
Well, he would need a Simeon Spirit guy to get that going.
That's all we need.
That's all we need. And then, he has a Kolaghan's command to shatter and shock if he even gets to that point.
Makes it harder to win.
Makes it harder.
Here's a Death Shadow. Major's confidently passing the turn back. Dannewitz, 3rd Mox Opal. Mox Opal doesn't look so bannable now. Looks pretty terrible.
Yeah, the conversation's more complicated than that, I think.
That looks so hot now. So this is obviously the problem with the Pure Steel Paladin deck. When it's firing on all cylinders, pretty tough deck to beat. When it is interacted with by 1 mana spells, be it Path to Exile, Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, Inquisition of Kozilek, Thoughtseize, it's got a real problem.
I think it's one of the biggest strikes against, for example, Painter Servant in Legacy, is Lightning Bolt is real interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And this deck, every card is real interaction.
Yeah.
If it can target a creature, it's real interaction.
Major's going to play a Verdant Catacombs. This is an attack for 13 minus 7 and 6. This is an attack for 12. Straight up. Tarmogoyf is 6/7. Death Shadows is a 6/6. Majors can make Death Shadow larger because of the Verdant Catacombs. I think we're looking at lethal, and we are. Michael Major's going to win this match here over David Dannewitz. 2-1. Death Shadow able to overcome Pure Steel Paladin, and for number 20 on our Season 1 leaderboard here on the SCG Tour, he's 10-1. It's Michael Majors.
Yep, and I think a lot of what happened there just comes down to pacification versus silence. I think Majors has so many cheap removal spells and Abrupt Decay that trying to lean on path negation as a way to push through is just a lower percentage play than going to silence.